Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Nobel Laureate Ramos Horta reclaims East Timor Presidency by Chris Barrett, updated April 21, 2022, 11:03 am, first published April 20, 2022, 4:04 p.m. Save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size, 0. Leave a comment. Singapore, a decade after being unseated, José Ramos Horta is headed back to East Timor's presidential palace, where he will be in charge of resolving the country's bitter political feud. The Nobel Peace Laureate and former president romped to victory in a runoff vote against incumbent President Francisco Luolo Guterres, securing 62.09% of votes, according to preliminary election agency data. José Ramos Horta's bid to return to the presidency was endorsed by voters. Credit, AP. The results don't surprise me and my main supporters, given the level of support given to my campaign in the whole country and our own polls in the last few months, even at township level, he told Portuguese news agency Lusa. Ramos Horta, who was president between 2007 and 2012, had been only 30,000 votes short of claiming a decisive majority in last month's presidential election first round, in which Guterres and 14 other candidates were on the ballot. East Timor President Francisco Luolo Guterres casts his vote in the first round of the presidential elections. Credit, AP. His opponent in the second round vote on Tuesday was resigned to defeat even before counting was completed. It was the people's choice, and should this result confirm Ramos Horta's victory, I have to respect it, said Guterres, who received 37.91% of votes. One of the country's historic independence figures, Ramos Horta was backed in his campaign against Fretilins Guterres by former guerrilla leader Xanana Gusmão, himself a former prime minister and the young country's first president. The question is whether Ramos Horta will return the favor and heed the call by Gusmão's party, the National Congress for Timorese Reconstruction, to dissolve parliament and bring forward fresh parliamentary elections, which are due next year. Voters line up to cast their ballots in Dili on Tuesday. Credit, AP. Gusmão's party had been part of a multi-party ruling alliance until 2020, when it rejected the government's budget, triggering the collapse of the coalition and the resignation of Prime Minister Taumatan Ruak. Ruak ultimately stayed on to oversee the response to the coronavirus pandemic, heading a realigned governing bloc comprising his People's Liberation Party, Rural Party Kuntu and Fretilin, the party that led the resistance to Indonesian rule and has been a major political force in the 20 years since independence. The government has, however, operated without an annual budget, relying on monthly installments from its sovereign petroleum fund, and is regarded as illegitimate by Gusmão. Ramos Horta's chief backers want to see early elections, but the new president needs to also bring a mind to unifying the country, so he'll have other priorities. He'll have to make a decision about whether he simply pushes the line of the party that backed him or tries to build a new coalition based around Gusmão's party in the current parliament, said Professor Michael Leach, an expert in East Timor politics at Swinburne University of Technology. Negotiating a new alliance including Gusmão's party would certainly be a constitutionally and politically easier pathway, Leach said. Ramos Horta said voters had given a resounding verdict on the government's response to the pandemic. The government could not manage the economic crisis, which was a big part of the consequences of COVID, he told Lusa. Even having at their disposal oil revenues, the economic, social and humanitarian crisis could have been better managed. The new president is due to be sworn in on May 20, the 20th anniversary of the restoration of independence, with AP. Get a note directly from our foreign correspondents on what's making headlines around the world. Sign up for the weekly What in the World newsletter here. Thank you for reading the Herald. This article is complimentary. Register or log in now to read more articles and unlock extra benefits. No payment required. Read more. Continue with Google, continue with Apple, or email address continue by continuing. You agree to your personal information being collected under a privacy policy and accept our terms of use. Hide content.